Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a story that shattered the illusion of safety in a small, tight-knit town. This is the case of Sarah Whitman, a young mother whose disappearance left a community haunted and searching for answers in the dark. The town of Willow Bend was the kind of place where everyone knew their neighbors. Kids played in the streets until dusk, and front doors were often left unlocked. It was a pocket of peace in a chaotic world. But one cold, rainy November night, that peace was irrevocably broken. 25-year-old Sarah Whitman was the heart of her small family, a dedicated mother to her 3-year-old son Luke. She worked evenings at a local cafe to provide for them. Her walk home was just 5 minutes, a short, familiar route she'd taken hundreds of times. Her routine was a comfort, so predictable that her sister Melissa could set a clock by it. Every night, after tucking Luke in, Sarah would text her, "Home now." But on this particular Friday, the text never arrived. The minutes ticked by. Melissa's worry grew into a gnawing fear. She drove over to Sarah's house, her heart pounding with every turn. When she arrived, a chill ran down her spine. The front door was slightly ajar. The living room lights were on, casting an eerie glow. Inside, everything seemed normal at first. Sarah's purse was by the door, her phone lay on the couch, and a half-finished cup of tea sat on the kitchen counter, slowly going cold. Then, Melissa checked Luke's room. He was fast asleep, completely unaware that his world was about to change forever. But Sarah was gone. Police were on the scene within minutes. They combed through the house, but the scene was unnervingly clean. There were no signs of a struggle, no forced entry, nothing stolen. It was as if Sarah had simply vanished into thin air. The perfection of the scene was what disturbed investigators the most. It felt staged, almost theatrical, as if someone had meticulously erased their presence. The following morning, the town's worst fears were realized. A group of joggers on a wooded trail just outside of Willow Bend made a devastating discovery. It was Sarah. The crime scene offered investigators almost nothing. No defensive wounds, no DNA, no fingerprints. The killer was a ghost. Detectives quickly concluded they weren't dealing with a crime of passion. This was the work of an organized, cold, and frighteningly careful individual. But the most terrifying part: there was no motive. Sarah had no enemies, no secret life, no drama. She was just a kind, beloved young mother. The news spread like a wildfire, and a wave of fear washed over Willow Bend. Locks were double-checked, parents held their children a little tighter, and the once friendly streets now felt filled with suspicion. The monster was one of them, walking freely among them. The investigation began with a frantic retracing of Sarah's last known movements. Security footage from a nearby store showed her leaving the cafe at 10:04 p.m., her umbrella held high against the rain. A few blocks later, another camera caught a crucial, yet frustrating, clue. A dark sedan slowed down beside her as she walked. The driver remained out of view, and the car's license plate had been deliberately and crudely scratched out, rendering it unreadable. The car then drove off, leaving no trace for police to follow. Weeks turned into a month, and the case went cold. The trail of the dark sedan vanished, and the community's hope began to fade. It seemed Sarah's killer would remain a phantom. But then, a breakthrough came from the most innocent and unexpected source: Sarah's 3-year-old son Luke. In the weeks following his mother's disappearance, Luke started drawing. His pictures were what you'd expect from a toddler: colorful scribbles, stick figures, and lopsided houses. But one day, Melissa was looking through his drawings when one of them made her blood run cold. It was a picture of their house, and standing outside the living room window was a tall, dark figure of a man wearing a cap. Beside the drawing, in shaky, childlike letters, Luke had written 2 words: "Mummy scared." Detectives immediately brought in a child psychologist. Through gentle play and carefully worded questions, a new timeline of that tragic night began to emerge. Luke revealed that after his mum got home from work, there was a knock at the door. Thinking it might be Melissa or a neighbor, Sarah opened it. But it wasn't a friend, it was a stranger. Luke, in his own simple words, told the psychologist, "Mummy told him to leave." He didn't listen. This was the piece of the puzzle that changed everything. Sarah had made it home safely. The attack didn't happen on the street, it happened right there, in her own home. The unlocked door, the staged living room, it all clicked into place. This wasn't a random abduction. The killer knew her. He had been watching, studying her routine, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With this new information, the investigation took a sharp turn. Detectives created a list of every man who lived within a half-mile radius of Sarah's home, poring over each name, searching for a connection. And then, a name flagged their attention. Clayton Reed. Reed was a local handyman who had given Sarah a quote for a small repair job a few months prior, but he never actually did the work. Digging deeper, they discovered that Reed had abruptly quit his job and moved out of his rental apartment just 1 week after Sarah's murder. His landlord mentioned he left in a rush, abandoning most of his belongings, furniture, clothes, and even unopened mail. But the most damning piece of evidence was found in his abandoned vehicle. It was a black sedan, the exact make and model of the one seen on the security footage. The only thing missing was the scratched-out license plate. A statewide alert was issued for Clayton Reed. You see, he was now the prime suspect, and he was on the run. For 2 long months, Clayton Reed remained a ghost. Then, hundreds of miles away in another county, a grocery store clerk noticed a man behaving strangely. He only bought canned goods, wore a hooded sweatshirt pulled low over his face, and nervously avoided all eye contact. Something about him felt off. The clerk had recently seen a flyer for a wanted man and realized with a jolt that the man in his store was Clayton Reed, who calmly called the police. Within minutes, armed officers swarmed the store and arrested Reed without incident. What they found in his squalid motel room confirmed their darkest suspicions. It was a shrine of obsession. Dozens of photographs covered the walls, photos of Sarah walking to work, photos of her house, and, most chillingly, photos taken through her living room window at night, capturing private moments she never knew were being watched. Clayton had developed a disturbing one-sided obsession with Sarah when she had politely declined his services for the repair job. That simple rejection had triggered something dark within him. He had then planned his attack with a terrifying level of patience and precision. He was charged with the murder of Sarah Whitman. The case of Sarah Whitman left a permanent scar on the town of Willow Bend. Safety workshops became common, street cameras were installed on nearly every corner, and the tragedy forged a stronger, more protective bond among neighbors. Sarah's sister, Melissa, stepped in to raise little Luke, ensuring he grew up surrounded by love and stories of his mother's incredible kindness and radiant smile. At Sarah's memorial, Melissa stood before the grieving community and said, "She was taken by darkness, but her light will raise the little boy she loved more than anything." Sarah's legacy became one of light, community, and a solemn reminder to always look out for one another. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.